Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the FV3805. It's the Tier 9 British SPG. This one's located on the North Spawn of Murovanka, and it's under the command of Oksydor from OLIMP. Now, the last time we saw an FV3805, it was Rita, and he was playing on Berlin in his FV3805, and he's the platoon or the clan commander for OLIMP. Game on. Of course, Rita only had one mark of excellence. Oksydor has 3. So I think you can tell that Oksydor likes his FV3805. He's also got the Polish flag nicely marked on the side of both sides of the vehicle. Of course, OLIMP is a Polish clan. Oh, knocked a tree down there. That might give away his position. He's found the enemy Arty, funnily enough. That's the M53, M55 moving there. Rounds out, long time to fly. And doesn't appear that we got anything, but that might actually be a challenge to the enemy Arty to try and fight him. I know if I get hit by the enemy Arty, it tends to make me want to get a little bit of payback. Okay, setting up in the corner. Looking for a target. Now there's 3 guns that go with the FV3805 in the game. The top gun is the 7.2 inch. Ooh, lovely shot there on the CS63 for 297. Now let's see which. Oh, he's knocked another tree over there. Now the gun he's actually using is the 182.9mm 7.2 inch howitzer, and that's the same gun that you find on the FV4005, the Heshbon. Lining up a shot in the 60 TP, fires around in and gets a direct hit. Now he is changing position, but he's knocking trees down as he's moving about, and that could be telling the enemy Arty where he is. Okay, we've got a T30 to deal with now, a CC1 Mark II, a T10 and an Object 430, so plenty of targets to fire at. Who's going to get the shell? Oh, enemy Arty firing. Yep, close enough to get stunned. And yes, the enemy Arty does know where we are. But that shot on the T30 actually did stun him, and he's already picked up 734 hit points of stun assist. Oh, will you look at that? 2 enemy tanks together. The Superconk and the T10. He's loaded, ready to go. Rounds out. Oh, a near miss on the Superconk. He's probably stunned both of them though. I would not be surprised. It was close enough. Yes, he is getting stun assist off the T10. Now, as I said, there's 3 guns. The top gun is the 7.2 inch, the middle gun is the 6 inch, and that's the 152.4mm, and the bottom gun is the 5.5 inch gun. And he got a direct hit there on the Superconk. Now, why do I mention the 5.5 inch last? Well, the reason is that there was only one model of the FV3805 that actually was produced in metal, other than the wooden mock-up. And that actually was fitted with a 5.5 inch gun. Now that's only 139.7mm in caliber. Now, the reason why this Arty never got put into production was mainly down to the fact that there was a meeting amongst various members of NATO, and they all decided that instead of actually going to the calibers that they decided, 5.5 inch, 6 inch or 7.2, they decided to go for the 105mm howitzer or a 155mm howitzer and standardise that across NATO. And of course the 155mm howitzer wouldn't fit in the FV3805, and the 105mm, although it would fit within that casing, was a little smaller than they actually envisaged. So in fact there were problems with the 5.5 inch anyway, and they basically cancelled the project. Lovely direct hit, 172 hit points off that one. He's already accumulated nearly 2,000 stun assists off this game alone, and it looks like some of the shells he's actually firing into that corner are stunning 2 tanks at the same time, and it looks as his teammates appear to be taking advantage of that to come over the ridgeline and put a few rounds into them. Rounds out. Another direct hit on the CC Mark 1, Mark 2 Roma. He is moving about after each shot. Of course, that M53, M55 kind of reminded him that he needs to move about.
Much obliged.
Now, originally there was 2 prototypes of the FV3805. The first one, though, was actually called the FV3802, was quite a different vehicle, and actually had a 25-pounder in. In fact, that's a tank that, or an Arty, that Wargaming could actually put into the game as a premium, because of course it only had a 25-pounder gun fitted into it. The FV3805 did have the 5.5 inch, and Wargaming have fitted that one into the game. Oh, that was a superb shot. He stunned 3 at once there. He's got big damage all round, and the Superconch just got taken out. So, in fact, he was killed by the Cobra. I think he's enjoying the shots that are going over, because he's then popping up with his autoloader and pumping rounds into the sides of these guys. You see, they're all facing off against the AMX M454, but they're missing that there's a dangerous tank nearby. He's now up to 2,500 of stun assist and 1,716 of actual damage. And the enemy have just lost their CC1 Mark II as well. And now we're going in after the 60 TP. You can see the enemy RT just hit our M454. But I think that, yep, the enemy has gone. The 60 TP has been wiped out. It was taken out in the end by the Cobra. So the Cobra did quite well out of that confrontation. There's only 3 enemies left now. One of them's a Malshan. The other one is a CS63, and the third one is a Batchat 25 ton. Looking to put a round into the side of the Malshan. Rounds out. Good direct hit right into the side. He was stunned, but he has got rid of his stun fairly quickly. The Malshan's down. We've just spotted the Batchat 25 ton. He's sitting at the back, and the enemy, well, they're down to just 1 tank now. It's the Batchat, and there he is. Rounds out. Well, it landed close to the Batchat, but it stunned the Leopard at the same time, or rather splashed the Leopard. But that's the end of the game, and it's a victory. Here's the end of battle results, and it was an ace tanker game for Oksydor in the FV3805. Not surprising really, considering the fact he got so much stun assist out of that game. He got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9, and he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team, and 2,849 from the Win 8, which is strong Unicum stroke Super Unicum level. Let's have a look at team score. Well, when it came to damage, he didn't get the highest. That was the TVPT 5051, who managed 3,691 hit points. The second highest damage was Oksydor with 3,222, and the third highest damage was the Cobra, who got 3,047. The Cobra ended up with an Oskins medal, which, if I remember correctly, is 3 enemy tanks that are at least 1 tier higher than your own. So he was doing extremely well, taking up tier 10 tanks in his tier 9. When it came to kills, I'm afraid Oksydor didn't get any at all, but that actually helped him to get his Confederate, the highest scorer in the game. Turned out to be the TVP T5051, who managed 4 kills alongside the Cobra. And then there was a bunch of tanks who managed to get 2 kills. The CC1 Mark II on our own team, and the Standard B, who actually managed to deliver Slaves medal out of that game. And only one player on the enemy team managed to get more than 1 kill, and that was their Batchat 25 ton. In fact, only 3 of their tanks actually managed to get a kill at all in that game. When it came to base XP, it's Oksydor who's right up at the top with 1,318. The second highest being the Cobra with 1,143, and he was doing some of the spotting that Oksydor was relying on, and they were the only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000, with the Conqueror only getting 947. Oksydor fired 16 rounds, so he made good use of the game. Plenty of shells flying out. 8 direct hits on the enemy, no penetrations, but 24 splash. Damage of 3,222 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He did get hit by 1 splash from the enemy M53, M55. I think that's because a lot of trees were knocked down, and that first shot he fired right at the start of the battle probably encouraged the M53, M55 to look for him. I suspect it stunned that M53, M55, even though he didn't suffer any damage as a result. 9 enemy vehicles were damaged, none were killed, so that's why he ended up with the Confederate. 5,352 hit points of stun assist off 22 stuns. So yes, he was stunning more than 1 tank at the same time. If you only fire 16 rounds but you stun 22 tanks, you are certainly spreading a lot of stun about on the enemy. He earned 84,660 credits for the game, and after ammunition, resupply and consumables took away 45,380 credits, 1,977 XP, times 5 on this occasion, 9,885 experience points altogether. So an extremely good game by Oksydor. Now I actually came across a number of photos which I actually had of the FV3805, and I thought might be a good idea to show these to you so you can actually see if you want to learn more about the FV3805. Plus I found 2 videos online, and I'll put the links to those videos down below. One of which is from Ed Webster on his Armoured Archives channel, so you can actually see the development of the vehicle, and the other one is the restoration project for the FV3805 on the Isle of Wight. Let's have a quick look. Well, this is a picture from Wargaming of what the vehicle would look like with the 7.2 inch howitzer. Actually, it didn't have the 7.2, as you know, as I mentioned. Only 1 howitzer was actually fitted to the vehicle. It was the 5.5 inch. It was tested, funnily enough. I've always believed that it wasn't tested, but it was. But unfortunately, they found that there were cracks in the frame that was actually holding the howitzer when it was tested, and that's one of the reasons why they were uncertain if they should go ahead with the project. If we have a look at some of the actual pictures, now this is a mock-up of what it would have looked like, I think. I'm not sure this is an actual real picture. It certainly looks as if it is. And in fact, actually, it looks as if it's the completed restoration model. But I'm not sure this is actually a true photograph. Please do advise me if it is a completed model that they finally did correct and re-engineer the wreck that's on the Isle of Wight, but I think this might be just a computer generated mock-up. If we move on, we can see this is the restoration project. I'll zoom in so you can actually have a look at it. They put a big frame around it. I think they were going to put a tarpaulin over the top of that, or plastic sheets, so they could still work on the model whilst it was in the British weather. Because of course it does rain a lot in the UK, and this thing had actually been sitting out in the rain-soaked fields at Duxford at the Imperial War Museum there, and it was rusting away, and they've moved it to the Isle of Wight to actually have it restored. but I believe it's still there at the Isle of Wight and hasn't been completed. This was one of the restoration days, and I believe that Ed Webster was there at on this day, and so was Harkonen, and as well as Jingles and Rita Gamer. It was way back in 2015, I believe. This was the state it was in at the Imperial War Museum at Duxford. Yeah, pretty dilapidated, sitting out in the rain, just rusting away, with a huge frame on top as well. I think that was for pulling the carts full of ammunition when it was on its last job. This was situated inside the frame that they put up to try and work on it. And if I go, this is the what it looked like whilst it was in trials. Yes, that's actually the 5.5-inch howitzer there, mounted inside the vehicle as it was. It was a semicircular drum on the vehicle, which enabled the thing to have quite a wide arc. It's the same as in the game, but the driver actually had very little view. That's the driver's viewport there, and you can see that he only has this hatch which you can open to actually see what's going on while you're reversing. And that's one of the things and one of the reasons why this Arty was actually in the end rejected and closed down, discontinued. Mainly because the driver just couldn't see what he was doing and where he was going. Not unless he had people around the vehicle telling him where to go. So let's have another look at the next picture. Oh, this is a model that somebody's made up of the FV3805. I think they took a Centurion model and reworked it. That's, I think, the completed model, which actually looks quite nice. Of course, it is a Centurion tank in reverse with the, as I said, with the Conqueror gearbox to actually allow it to move. That's a picture of the real FV3805 P2, as it was known, with the 5.5-inch gun. And you can see that semicircular frame or mount that the gun was actually mounted in. And there's the engine deck of a Centurion. This was the vehicle on parade. You can see for the soldiers standing alongside it for comparison of height. It actually was quite a tall thing, which meant that obviously with a high profile, it would not be very stealthy. It would actually be very unstealthy. It could stick out like a sore thumb, I'm afraid. That may be one of the other drawbacks. Plus, of course, you can see again, not much room for the driver to look around. It looks like they put a sight on top. That may have been put onto the vehicle to actually assist the driver by allowing him to look in various directions. But the hull itself and the superstructure still blocked the view from certain directions. Now, while it was down at the in its second job, after it was rejected, it was actually sent down to the range at Shrewsbury-Ness, which is one of the shooting or firing ranges for artillery in the UK. They painted the vehicle a light blue colour, British duck blue, and in fact they put a sign on it. You can't really see it very well, but it says Major Picton's Palace. And of course, this was because the vehicle, Major Picton was one of the guys who actually was involved with the range work, and he also used this vehicle to tow ammunition to and from the ranges. And of course it was fitted with a heater, so people who are actually out on the ranges, which can be very, very cold, could then warm up inside the vehicle when they weren't actually doing any work. Plus, of course, it was armoured, so therefore it was protected to a certain extent from any shell fire. This is what it looked like while it was carrying ammunition, I believe, behind, or towing ammunition. The gearbox allowed it to move forward much faster than the first version, which actually only had the standard gearbox, so it actually wouldn't go forward very quickly at all because it was the wrong way round. Again, it's another picture of the vehicle on parade. And that's what it looked like after the restoration project had a go at it. I think it's still in this state somewhere on the Isle of Wight, as I said. I doubt if it was actually completed, but I'd be very pleased to find out if they have actually completed the work. And again, from the other side, you can see it's basically, it is a Centurion hull with a huge casement on top. And you can see plenty of room on the inside, but the thing is that even though it's quite roomy, you've got to remember that the vehicle will not only have that big 5.5-inch gun through the centre of the vehicle there, but there'll be charges and shells all the way around the outside, plus of course all the equipment that they needed in order to sight the gun on its target. and there were 3 road wheels mounted on the vehicle as well, to just in case they needed replacement. And again, this is after it was painted duck blue and it was on the Shrewsbury Nest ranges. And you can see the poor driver, he's had to keep the hatch open just so he can see where he's going. But he can only see one side of the vehicle. He can't see the other side to actually see if there's anybody there. So you'd have to watch out that you didn't run somebody over when you were moving about. And this is the last picture. And there's Ed Webster, or Ed Fisher, from Armoured Archives. And he's standing next to the vehicle. I don't know if this is the owner of the vehicle, but I'd love to find out what the state of the vehicle is, just in case it is still, if it has been restored, or if it could be restored. I'm sure there's a lot of people who would like to get hold of a vehicle like that and fully work on it. Oh, that's another view of the restoration project. And there's the engine, the Centurion engine, which they've taken out of the vehicle. It's a Rolls-Royce Meteor. That's the tank version of the same Merlin engine that you find in Spitfires and Hurricanes. But of course, it was derated. They took off the supercharger and turned it into a tank engine instead. Same engine you find on a lot of British tanks, including the Comet and the Cromwell. And we're back to that photo again. And this is what Wargaming put out in their material. There it is in duck egg blue, down on the Shrewsbury Nest ranges. And that's the last photo in my picture gallery. So I hope you enjoyed that little jaunt through my picture album. I do keep a lot of pictures of some of the Artys just in case something comes up. I think I might actually include some of those in some of the videos in future, so you get to see the real vehicle. It would be quite nice. I'll see what I can do about that. But thanks so much for sending in the replay, Oksydor. I've got more of your replays to come, so hopefully we'll be able to get those out over the next couple of days. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.